Hello everyone and welcome to this new devlog of the Astreterre project. I am OraNN and Astreterre is a 2D tactical role-playing game inspired by Minecraft. Today I am going to show you the addition of an essential feature, saving and loading games. Before starting to work on the principle of saving the game, I spent a lot of time thinking about designing it. I have compiled a lot of essential things to save. I also consulted the game UI database site, which brings together a lot of screenshots of many different games. I looked at several role-playing games to establish criteria to imagine for my load and save menu. I then watched several tutorials on Godot, which helped me understand several different backup systems. I put some links in the description. I chose one that looked pretty similar to what I had worked for Devlog, a JSON file-based system. Backups will therefore be a giant dictionary that will include everything you need to keep and load when you quit and restart the game. Since my game is just a small fan project for fans, I don't need to make an ultra-secure system that will prevent cheating. I need a simple system for me, easy to manage and transparent for future players. All save files will be in the default folder for Godot games. On Windows, it's in the app data folder. There will be a folder for region files, which we already mentioned in the previous devlog, a folder for saving options, and a folder for saving games themselves. The files are in JSON format, so easily accessible. That we can modify the files easily is not a concern in itself. I even tell myself that it will be an asset in the event of a problem to correct any incompatible saves from one version to another. Let's go a bit into the structure I created for these JSON files. I use the JSON editor online site to show you the JSON files. Any text editor can suffice. I chose to separate the different elements to save. The order of writing to the backup does not matter, but I will present them to you in the order in which I designed the system. I started with what I call metadata, that is to say the basic information of the game. The version of the game will manage the compatibility of backups as updates are made. Save type is to know if it is a manual, automatic or fast save, quick save. There is information relating to the time, the save date and the duration of play. There is the location, the number of quests to be saved. The portrait part concerns the future possibility of displaying the portraits of the player's team, even if for the moment only one character is playable. The player part is currently incomplete. There is only the position of the player and his name. Eventually, there will be all the statistics of life, skills, level, etc. The region data part is a copy of the region save files that are used to manage monster persistence when loading a new area. This is what I explained in the previous devlog. Here, there are two saved regions, each with the state of the creatures. There will be other items to back up later as features are added. The journal part is the most complete because it saves all the quests. This is to keep the steps already completed and the current status of the quest. Know if it is in progress, active, abandoned, etc. In the example you see, the backup contains data for 2 ongoing quests whose progress is fully stored. This save game is complete for now with the features already in play, but a lot is still missing. This is the case of inventory management, interface, character statistics, etc. We will come back to this throughout the development to improve the backup functionality little by little. The loading menu is a scene that can be displayed from the pause menu. This scene contains a series of buttons and other nested scenes. These are the banners that each represent a save game. So I coded the different elements so that they are displayed correctly. In each banner, we can see information from the metadata part of the backup, such as the location, the playing time, the portrait of the characters in the team. We find all the essential functions such as copying, deleting, or overwriting save games. I coded a number of pop-up windows to warn the player when he forgets to select a save. It must confirm in case of important actions before deleting or renaming a file, for example. When we launch a loading, I planned the appearance of a transition scene, which allows the player to understand that the loading is in progress. For now, this is a fictional scene because in reality, the loading of data is almost instantaneous. However, this still hides the disappearance and raw appearance of the new region. It also hides the player's teleportation to the correct coordinates. In short, this loading screen is useful to have a more professional rendering of the transition. The save menu is very similar to the load menu. The buttons are quite similar, as are the pop-ups that may appear. The saved file banners are the same. However, the menu is configured not to show autosaves and quick saves. I assume that you should not be able to manually overwrite this type of save game. Otherwise, it can be done for all manual save games. You can of course create a new save game that will appear instantly in the list. To manage these save and load functions, the menus are closely linked to the save load node that I presented to you during the last devlog. It has grown considerably, but the principle has remained the same as for the management of region files. File writing and reading functions are short and simple. They are used to read and write the complete save game dictionary. The important part consists in making the dictionary. This is the purpose of the make complete save data function, which, as you can see, will actually allow 4 dictionaries to be combined. Each corresponds to the parts that we have seen in the presentation of the JSON file. Each function that begins with make will take care of doing one of these backup bytes. Dictionaries require more or fewer lines depending on the amount of information to save. The quest log and region dictionaries are the most comprehensive, with multiple search loops to find all the data to write. Then there is the longest function, named the apply loaded save game function, which allows you to gradually modify the current game to shape it and make it look identical to the one contained in the saved game. Data is applied in an important specific order. First, the region files are updated, then the metadata, then the player data, and finally the quest log data. Finally, we move the player and reset the game board, the node that manages the fights. When I started working on the save system, I didn't think I would have to touch how the cursor worked. The problem arose because you can load a game whenever you want, and I had the problem of seeing the cursor target appear, for example, targeting during a fight when you had just loaded a game without a fight. At first, I wanted to tinker with solution, but as my cursor management system was anarchic, it didn't work. So I completely redesigned the cursor management principle by centralizing its control in a brand new cursor manager node. I thought of this management with a hierarchy of game scenes. The script constantly checks the displays of the different scenes to choose the cursor adapted to the situation. For example, if the pause menu is open, almost only the simple cursor is needed. If we are in combat mode, there are many more choices that are related to signals. Each element of the game that can change the appearance of the cursor is able to send a signal to say, I'm active or I'm deactivated. Thus, the script of the cursors knows, for example, if the mouse is hovering over a box prohibited, a cell prohibited from movement during the fight. So the cursor manager script can choose to display the forbidden sign if we are in combat mode and there are no other priority criteria. This centralized system allowed me to fix a lot of cursor bugs I had before, and it will allow me to easily add other situations in future features. Another element added recently is the options menu. For the moment, everything is not really functional. You can only choose the language and the delay of the help. This is the speed at which small contextual pop-ups open to specify the function of a button. You can even completely disable this feature. The other sliders in the option menu are ready to use, but they are not yet linked to existing functionality. It's the same for the choice of control keys that we'll do later. It's a pleasure for me to show you the game in English because since I've been working on it, and even more those things I created the dialogue system, English support is in the code, but until now I had no way to test it. Now, when you activate the function in the options menu, everything goes in English. If I worked on the options menu, it is because its operation is related to the backup, to the save games. In fact, I created a specific autosave system. When you apply the settings chosen in the options menu, the game saves the options so that you don't need to set everything again when you start the game. There is therefore an automatic loading system when you start the game to go and retrieve the information in the options folder of the game files. All this is also managed in the save load script, as you can see, with functions quite similar to the others already used for saving games. Thanks for watching this devlog. I spent a lot of time on the principle of saves and I'm proud to have done it because we are gradually getting closer to the basic functions of a real game. There are still things to improve, of course, and complete. Feel free to give your opinion in the comments. You can also subscribe to not miss the next devlogs. Every week I broadcast at least one stream on Twitch for Astreterre and I upload it on YouTube. Thank you to all and in particular to Mimish. See you soon. Bye bye.